This is video 4 of the Gift of the Nile series, and this video is going to discuss Egyptian buildings. Now, ancient Egypt has the most memorable and remarkable buildings of the ancient world and has some of the only ancient world buildings that are still left standing today. The first and most iconic are the pyramids. Now, the pyramids are massively huge structures, as you can see by the tiny man and camel up near the base of these pyramids. They are huge. And if you look around, there aren't too many places that you can find any stone, let alone the amount of stone necessary to make these structures. And it is still a mystery to modern science and architecture today how these pyramids exactly were built. Now, the purpose of these pyramids was to be giant burial chambers for the pharaohs. As you can see from this drawing here, that you have a number of different channels within the pyramids that lead all the way down to the base where the sarcophagus, where the body of the pharaoh would have been. And there would have been priests and other servants who would have cared and maintained for this pyramid and this burial chamber all day, every day, to make sure that the afterlife needs of the pharaoh were maintained. And in the upper right hand corner of this picture, you can see two different styles of channeling that they attempted with some of the other pyramids. The next structure that is equally as iconic is the Sphinx. This is the lion body with the man's head. Now, the purpose of this was to be a guardian for the tomb. They believed that there were spiritual essences that were in the world and that they were trying to guard the pharaoh's tomb and his ka, his spirit, from these evil spirits. So that was the point of the Sphinx. So how, and more importantly, why did they do it? Because these works don't happen by themselves. First, it was a sign of a very organized society. These things do not happen by accident. So you had to have strong bureaucracy, you had to have good organization from the mines through the process of getting all these rocks and crafts over to their site, how they're aligned, who should be doing what. This meant that it was very, very structured. Second, it meant that it was easy to farm, and as we talked about the Nile being predictable, with being calm, with dropping lots of fertile soil, that they weren't having to spend much time fighting to get food. That meant they had more free time. That means they had excess food that they could spare people, lots of people, thousands, if not some project hundreds of thousands of people, to build these monuments. And third, the Egyptians had to work a certain number of hours every year in the service of the pharaoh, in particular the farmers and the slaves. So they were obligated to do the manpower, and this provided the opportunity for them to fulfill their obligations. And fourth, and more importantly, answering the why question. The pharaohs became gods upon their death. So if you wanted to keep the pharaohs happy, so that way it would be keeping the gods happy. And if the gods were happy, then that might mean that you would live a higher quality life. So helping with the pyramids and with the Sphinx wasn't always about the glory of Egypt or the glory of the pharaoh. It was about making sure the pharaoh and the gods were happy, so that way it would make your life better.